Joining us now is Paul Villanueva from Intelligent IT Design's Director of Cybersecurity. Paul, thanks for joining us today.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, let's get started with what is Intelligent IT Designs? What do you guys do, and how did you guys come to be?
Sure. So we started in 2006. I had a lot of years of IT experience managing large IT departments, and I wanted to, in 2006, I left the company I was working for, went on my own, started my own business, and I wanted to bring, the great depth of knowledge that I had acquired by working with the big shops into smaller businesses who I saw that there was a need.
And what exactly does Intelligent IT Designs do?
Sure. So small businesses have needs for from tech support needs all the way up to managing their networks, managing their security, backups. Those are two very big things. Are the importance of having a very good backup, knowing that you can recover after a failure. And today, you can't neglect security. Security is a big thing for big businesses and small businesses. So I'll be working.
And you mentioned it, the security that small businesses are running into, and that especially comes into play with so many small businesses going remote. So how do you as an IT firm kind of handle that of having so many people not in a single location that you can monitor and maintain a lot of that security and operational status?
So, with working remote, with working remotely, we've helped a lot of businesses connect to the resources that they need, whether it's in the office or in the cloud. And everything has to be secure, encrypted. Everything is monitored. Everything is kind of parsed and processed to make sure there aren't any bad things in the traffic as it's being transacted. And tools that allow us for our clients. The tools give us basically like a central console where we're able to see a lot of information at a glance. We spend a lot of time configuring it to we get different types of alerts. So we have our finger at the pulse of all our clients and all their technology.
That's great. That's great that you're able to kind of monitor it in real time. And with so many businesses reliant on having up-to-date information and making sure that their services are still being provided constantly, it really comes into play when you have a downage, when you have some kind of a threat or a risk to your systems. What are some of the threats and risks that you're seeing for small businesses to keep an eye out for and to really know when they're basically under attack?
I think, some of the biggest threats come from, you'd be surprised to hear this answer probably, is from the inside. It's from their employees. And it's not necessarily, it's most likely not malicious from their staff. It's accidental. So what I've seen is that there's been a great need for training. The employees need to be trained on how to, detect risks and detect threats so that they're not accidentally clicking on a bad link and downloading something that can destroy, the business. Some of the tools we have allow us to, one is train the employees, meet with the employees, train them, and then we're also able to test them. So we're able to produce like some sneak attacks, and if they do the wrong thing, we'll get an alert. They'll also get notified, and then they'll get sent back to class. And then another day they'll get another surprise test.
Oh, you're pretty much getting sent to detention for doing something wrong, which in the long run will cost a business a lot less than what it would be if they actually did fall victim to a lot of these attacks.
Yeah, they say an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure or something like that.
It sounds just about right to me.
Yeah.
And as you kind of look at small businesses, what are some of the systems that they're oftentimes using that are vulnerable to these kinds of attacks?
You can be outdated systems. You'll still run into, for instance, sometimes you run into Windows 7 or Windows 8 computers. That's obsolete. That should be done with. But even you'll also run into Windows 10 computers that are they're not receiving updates, so they're on an old feature release. And a lot of folks will say, well, the automatic updates will just take care of it, and sometimes that may not be working properly. So that needs to be monitored.
And how has kind of the transition to work from home shifted a lot of the IT world and how you guys provide the support and assistance to the businesses and the clients have?
So, work from home has opened a lot of doors as far as vulnerabilities, because now we have to manage the endpoints at the houses a lot more. So we've had to introduce a set of security and configurations that basically will allow us to protect the home devices, but maybe not make the employee at home not feel so intruded on, because it's their personal device.
And you kind of touch on it a little bit of you don't have to have the physical computer in your hands anymore. You can do a lot of it remotely, especially on your work, that you can go in, find what the problem is, and not even have to worry about bringing those employees into a location where you can do all these services safely remotely and not even risk any kind of infection. So as you kind of see where the technology world is going, do you see this work from home kind of mentality and the IT side of things kind of sticking around, or do you think it's going to shift more back to being in person and having the desktop work computer?
I think that the work from home scenario is going to continue to grow. Many people with the pandemic were forced to test and try that scenario. They were forced into it and they've seen, oh, this isn't that bad. So I think and especially today as a small business, you have to be nimble. You have to be adjust quickly, adapt quickly, adopt quickly. You can't be like a big corporation that's like a big giant ship that moves very slowly. You've got to move fast. So to be able to turn on an employee at home very quickly, and is a big deal, and especially it's attractive to a prospect. You can capture a better talent if you can allow them to work from home. So we've, given our clients the tools to do that.
Especially when you have people that you can be hiring from California to Texas. No matter where they're living, you can still get that same talent. Of course, we have great talent here in the Hudson Valley, but Absolutely. You never know where your specialist is going to be living. So it really gives you that opportunity if you have a firm like Intelligent IT Designs sitting back behind you to give you that support and help you kind of maneuver that process. It certainly makes it a lot easier. And how couldn't somebody find out more about Intelligent IT Designs? What's your contact information that they can reach out if they have questions?
Sure, absolutely. So, we have our website. That's intelligentitdesigns.com. We also have by email, it's paul@intelligentit.net. And the phone number is 877-914-3577.
Wonderful. And mention, of course, that you are a published author. Those of you who are listening, you may be seeing it in the Poughkeepsie Journal either this week or next week. Coming in from the bottom line section, we'll be having an insert in the bottom line highlighting your new book coming out. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the book and what we can expect to read from it?
Absolutely. So basically, I've worked with a large group of other IT experts, and we've put together a resource that business owners or anyone can read to learn. We wanted the business owner to be equipped, right? So we want to educate the business owner. We want him to know what threats he's facing and some of the things that he can do and implement quickly to help protect his business. And then, if as he's becoming aware of all these things, if he or she, as they become, aware and educated, then, and they need help, they can engage us or anybody else.
And how can someone find this book if they want to get their hands on it?
It's on Amazon, Amazon.com. The name of the book is On Thin Ice.
On Thin Ice. So, folks, be sure to pick it up as you're buying those holiday gifts. Paul, thank you so much for coming in today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.